Hey everybody, this is Nintendo Hodge, and you're watching Chris, the old-ass retro gamer.
No, Mondane, because your birthday is my birthday. Hey, welcome to the second part of my Nintendo Gamecube video game collection 2023 streams. I'm a little pissed off right now. Traffic, I don't know why, was super bad. I got home like 3 minutes after I was supposed to start streaming. Yesterday, zero traffic. I got home with so much time to spare that I could clean up the noggin, trim my beard, gather everything up, get something to eat real quick. Today, I didn't even have time to go and take a piss. So I'm mad. But anyway, GameCube. I didn't have time to grab all my GameCube stuff like I said I was going to do last week, like to show off my GameCube and the Game Boy player thing and all that, and the wave birds that I have. Anyway, so let's just get right into it, shall we? But first, why do I do these streams? 4 reasons. 1, it's fun. 2, content. 3, good to have a record of everything in the collection. 4, I get to talk with everybody awesome. Now we can start. Anyway, so last week, the last game I talked about was Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. So we're going to continue in the M's, starting off with, I don't know if this is like a special edition or what, or if this is something that's hard to find. I think I got this at, what's it called? Disc Replay, that store I used to go to that closed. Because it's got a lot of stuff, extra stuff in it, and it's like a different edition than everything else. And even the box is a little bit different. But it's this Target version of Metroid Prime. Show off. I picked this up, like I said, at the exchange. No, sorry, the Disc Replay. And it doesn't have like those typical holes in the GameCube. Like a normal GameCube case has like that hole underneath in the case. You know, I think that might be for like security tabs or something, but this one, it is a GameCube case. I mean, but it doesn't have that hole underneath, which is strange. And it comes with the manual and this confidential Metroid thing, which is essentially just a big ad for Metroid Fusion. And it says it's supposed to have $50 worth of coupons inside. I bet they're still good. I don't see anything in here for... I don't know if it was a separate sheet that is now missing because it probably got used or what for the coupon. But whatever. Not important. Anyway, so Metroid Prime. And I remember like when this came out, it was like super contentious. There was like half the people I knew hated the idea of Metroid stopping the 2D side-scrolling approach and going first person. And everyone else I knew thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was one of the people that thought it was the coolest thing ever. I wasn't getting sick of the 2D approach, but I was like, you have all this extra technology. You know, this isn't the Super Nintendo anymore. Like, you can do 3D stuff now. Why just keep on doing the same thing over and over again? So when they announced that Metroid Prime was going 3D, it was going, first person, but it was still going to be a Metroid game, I was like, yeah, sure, give it to me. And it ended up being super fun, and I ended up loving the hell out of it. I never beat it, even though I love Metroid. It's probably my favorite Nintendo franchise. I've never actually beaten any of the games in the Prime series. I hope that streak will end when I play through the remastered Switch version. But I thought it was absolutely amazing. I love the graphics. I love that you had to scan things and you get all this kind of information about, the history of the planet you're on and like the creatures that you're fighting and all this kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty amazing. And plus, it's a pretty rad first-person shooter, and I love first-person shooters. So it was the best of two franchises or two genres I love. So I was not mad. I was very, very happy, and I was happy that it sold well enough that we got multiple sequels. Like Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. This is the one where I do believe... No, that's Corruption I'm thinking of. I never gotten very far in this game because I bought this back in the day. I played it for a little while, but I kept on saying I should probably go back and beat the first one, and I just never did. So this one is one of those games that just kind of sat on my shelf, I'm sad to say. But I love the metallic cover, or the foil cover. It's pretty rad the way that works. And it looks pretty awesome. This one's got multiplayer, 4-player multiplayer. And does it have anything in there special? Well, it's got a Metroid Hunters ad. What is it with all the ads for other Metroid games? Yeah, Metroid Prime Hunters and Metroid Prime Hunters Pinball. Anyway, so more of the same, but I love the series, so eventually I will play through all of them. This one I ended up picking up at the Exchange down the street, and I've never heard of this game at all. But I looked at the back. I asked the person that was working on duty that day. I was like, can you take that out of the case? Because all the games at the Exchange are behind glass. And I was like, can I take a look at that one? Number one, I want to see if it has like the manual. But number two, I'm kind of curious to see what kind of game it is. So they took it out of the case, and I took a look at it, and immediately I was like, yeah. It's Mystic Heroes. And it's by Koei. So from what I understand, this is a Dynasty Warriors, like the Muso game. But it is with like the super deformed versions of the characters. Like they're like chibi versions of the characters. So it's a little more Nintendo friendly, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, give it to me. I love these types of games. And I just ripped ass so bad. That I had to have it because one of my goals is to get all these types of games, get all the Dynasty Warriors games and all the different spin-offs and all that kind of stuff. So had to snag that while it was there. And then here's one that has a big-ass outer box. And this one I got for a steal. So I remember, I think it was Musty Hobbit from the Cartridge Club was out for a copy of this at one point, and he paid a decent amount of money for it. And then I went to the Exchange by me one day, and they were selling this for, I think it was like $7 or $8, complete in the big box with the extra accessory. And I think it's because of the condition the box is in, but even with the condition the box is in, I'm pretty sure they could have still charged like $30 for this, at least. But I don't know what was going on. We're talking Odama. This is one of those weird-ass games that just randomly showed it up on the GameCube. Got to have all those weird peripherals and whatnot. So the thing about Odama is it's a pinball game. Here's the game itself. It is a pinball game, but you use a controller, but you also use this microphone at the same time. And it plugs into the GameCube memory card slot, I do believe on number 2. Player 2. And you yell commands to the troops and stuff like that. Because it's like you're on a battlefield. There are troops coming down like the battlefield, the pinball table towards you. Multiple troops. It looks like a Muso game. And then you have your own at the bottom. I do believe, yeah. And you have your pinball flippers, and there's a ball, and you have to command your troops to do specific things at the same time as man the paddles and stuff. It is the weirdest thing. Creative as hell, though, and it is actually kind of fun. I need to spend more time playing it. When I first bought this, I immediately hooked up my GameCube and gave it a run real quick. Number one, to see if it worked. And number two, I was just curious how this played. And I only played it for maybe 5 minutes, but I was like, yeah, like, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but you know what? It works. As long as you have a good time playing it, which I did, I was like, I'm happy. So not only did I get this for a great price, but see, that's the thing. The box is a little bit ripped up because I do believe there was like a sticker. You can see where it was up here. There was a sticker keeping this thing sealed. And when the person, instead of like just cutting the sticker, decided to rip the damn thing off and tore off half the box. And it also looks like somebody sat on it. But it's still holding together, so I can't really complain. It's better than not having Odama, if you know what I'm saying. Hang on. There we go. So I'm super thrilled to have it. I definitely need to hook up my GameCube again and give this another whirl. I love pinball games, and it's a mashup of a weird type, so yeah. A friend of mine bought this back in the day, the Pac-Man Versus and Pac-Man World 2 combo. This is the only like player's choice game I have for the GameCube because I don't think this was available any other way. I never saw this by itself, either Versus or just Pac-Man World 2 outside of this. So the thing was, a friend of mine bought this because he's a huge Pac-Man fan, brought it over to my house, and we're playing it. And this is one of those games where you can hook up the Game Boy Advance to your GameCube with that adapter that came with Four Swords Adventures, the Legend of Zelda game. And the thing is, like in the multiplayer version of Versus, you have one person controlling the ghosts, or I guess the other three people can do it. Was that the way it was? 2 to 4 players compete against your friends and earn extra points to win the game. Pac-Man Versus video game can only be played with a Game Boy Advance connectivity table connected to your GameCube. Blah 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 blah. Choose some different mazes. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. I just remember it was me, my buddy Justin, and his wife. What's up, Retro Coop? It was me and my buddy Justin who had bought this, and his wife came over to my place. We were playing it. She was playing on the Game Boy Advance, and she was playing as the ghosts, and she was coming after us. And the thing is, for some reason, Namco thought it was a good idea that to put Mario's voice in here. What's up, Peter? Oh, a lot of people showing up. This is awesome. Yeah, Mario's like a commentator to what's going on in the game. And I'm Italian. I don't usually take offense to, like Italian stereotypy kind of things, except in this game, because for some reason, hearing Mario going like, oh, this is no looking so good, and stuff like that just drove me nuts. Like, I kept on saying, like, we need to turn this off. It is pissing me off. You can call me a wop all you want. But for some reason, Mario's voice in this just drives me nuts. I've never actually played Pac-Man World 2 on here, but it's one of the 3D, like, action platformer Pac-Man games that are really popular now, like the Ghostly Adventures and stuff like that. But Pac-Man Versus is essentially like Pac-Man, like the arcade, but it's multiplayer. What's up, completionist? Same level as in this game he is. Like, normally Mario's shtick doesn't bug me. I was actually really happy when they said that Chris Pratt was playing Mario in the movie, because that meant we weren't going to be getting the whole kind of crap, what's this kind of stuff the whole movie, because that would have made me go crazy. But for some reason, like hearing Mario in like Mario 64 and all the other games where he just kind of goes woo, 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 and stuff like that doesn't bother me, but hearing him talk in this game drives me nuts. We got another Mario game. Mario, as the Canadians say. We got Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door. I know Captain Algebra recently played through this because it was his backlog roulette game from my Super Enabler Brothers podcast that I do with Jason of Corpse Club Gaming. This is, I do believe, it's not really like a platformer. Is this like the action RPG one? But I haven't actually played this. I found this at an out of the way half price books. and it was dirt cheap. This was like, I think I want to say at the time when I found this, it was like, I remember looking it up and it was like $60 and they were selling it for like 35 or something. So I was like, sure, let's, snag it while you can. It's a deal. But I still haven't popped it in because I haven't played any of the other games. I want to get the one on the Nintendo 64 and play through that before I play this. I have a bunch of the other Paper Mario games, but I haven't played any of them because I'm waiting to get the original, and the original is not really easy to come by, complete in box and for a good price. But yeah, I need to play through these at some point. It's like Jar Jar, but Mario. Yep. Peter. Peter's birthday is my birthday. And my birthday is Monday's birthday. Here we have a series that I never got into when the GameCube was actually a thing. I got into it long after through my buddy Justin's wife, Elizabeth. She really loves these games, and her talking about how much she enjoyed them when they were new got me interested in picking them up when I got back into collecting in 2013. We're talking them Pikmin games. So these are like strategy action games where you control this little dude, Olimar, who's like this alien that lands on this planet that is inhabited by all these little plant people, and they're adorable as hell, and they make cute little noises. And they come in different colors, and each color does a different type of an attack or a move or whatever. And you keep on getting more and more and adding more to your little army, and you can take on enemies that stand in your way of doing what you need to do or solving environmental puzzles, that kind of thing. And it's really, really fun. I played a lot of the third one on the Wii U, but I haven't spent a whole lot of time with either Pikmin 1 or Pikmin 2. But the graphics in these games are pretty awesome. A lot of characters on screen, and the camera zooms in and zooms out as appropriate. But I really enjoy this type of action puzzle and like strategy-esque game, I guess. They're really fun. And it was nice back then to see Nintendo like starting some new franchises off that weren't just the old standbys. I wish they would continue with it. We got a third game on the Wii U. We got a 3DS game. It was Hey Pikmin or something or something like that, but I don't think it's continued past that. Yeah, even when they die, yes. No, his name is not Peter. I misspoke. It's Mondane. Let me see here. I had this one back in the day, and I played it for a little while. And you know me, I like get a new game, and I'm like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. Oh, this new shiny thing over here. What's this? Forget about that thing I just bought. Piano 3 or product number 03 was one of those games. Like I picked this up. Me and my buddy Justin both picked it up on the same day. I think we both picked it up on our lunch break that whatever day it came out. And like I remember playing it, and I brought it home. I played it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then like I played it for like 2 days, and then I just completely forgot it existed. And I remember it wasn't getting the greatest reviews, especially since it came from Capcom. But it's kind of like it's an action game, but it's a little bit like, I guess, pre-Bayonetta, because your character does all these weird acrobatic things. It's kind of got some 3D platforming, but when you are attacking, you have like a gun in your wrist or whatever, or you shoot with a gun, and you can like select enemies, kind of like in Star Fox or Omega Boost, and then you can let go and you shoot all these laser beams out that take out the bad guys, kind of thing. But you're doing all these weird acrobatic side flips and back flips and forward flips and all this, and you unlock new moves as you go. I ended up getting this for my backlog roulette choice for one of the episodes I did for the show, and I played through a good deal of it. I didn't actually beat it, but I was really enjoying it, even though the controls are just a little bit clunky for compared to what's considered normal for today. But it's still pretty rad. I like it a lot. Insert piano pun. Piano 3. I got you. I see what you did there, you crafty bastard. This one, here's another licensed game for a movie I do not like. But I remember I found this at Half Price Books, another out-of-the-way Half Price Books, when I was out with some friends. We're talking Reign of Fire. This is the movie that I said everything I saw, trailers, posters, ads, all lied to us. I was super pissed when this movie was over. And the trailers made it look like it was going to be this big, like the army versus dragons kind of thing, and it was just going to be this action fest. No, not really. Dragons are in it for maybe a whole whopping 10 minutes. It's mostly about Christian Bale and Gerard Butler like reenacting The Empire Strikes Back, and what was it, like tending the fields and stuff like that. And then Matthew McConaughey randomly shows up and gets all hillbilly-ish. It's weird. I do not like it. But the idea of a game that is about like the army versus dragons sounds awesome. It's just sad that it's by this band company that does not have the best track record, because they also did Driven. So the game, I played it for a whopping 5 minutes when I first got it to make sure it worked. And yeah, there's a lot of action in it, and you do get to use tanks to take out the dragons and all that kind of stuff. But it's based on a movie that I don't like, so I don't really have like the inclination to go and actually like, I need to set time aside to go and play that Reign of Fire game. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it looks cool though. But they're like, the thing that gets me is, like I said, the advertising and everything, like the trailer or the poster here. This is part of the poster. That scene never happens in the movie. There are never Apache helicopters taking out a dragon. There's an Apache helicopter in it. People jump out of it. That's the only thing it does in the movie. So, like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I remember how that lied to me. I'm wondering how much on the back I'm being lied to, because they make it look like it's freaking amazing. Even on the GameCube, where graphics weren't exactly the tip top. The band Mad at Gravity. The what? The band Mad at Gravity. Oh, Mad at Gravity. Oh, I don't remember that. The band. I just remember the people jumping out of the airplane, trying to like throw a bomb at a dragon that they were skydiving past, or some stupid shit like that, and then some guy splattered on the ground because he was stupid and didn't pay attention to pulling his chute. That's all I remember. And Christian Bale and Gerard Butler reenacting The Empire Strikes Back for a bunch of kids. So now we've got the juggernaut that is the Resident Evil games. I never really wanted to get Resident Evil 2 or 3 for this, because I have them on the PlayStation 1 and I have them on the Dreamcast. I don't need multiple copies of the exact same game. And maybe like a slight graphical upgrade on the GameCube compared to the Dreamcast. So I didn't really feel the need to buy them again. So all I really have are the Resident Evil 4, the Resident Evil Remake, and Resident Evil 0. Hate that game. This isn't exactly true anymore that they're only available on the GameCube, especially when it came to 4. But Resident Evil 0, I tried to play a little while ago. It was like 3 years ago. It was right before COVID, and I absolutely hated it. It was when the remake of 2 started or had just come out, and I was like, I'm gonna play through like the Resident Evil 0 remake, because I bought the Resident Evil Origins collection on the PS4. I'm like, I'm gonna play through 0, and then I'm gonna play through the Resident Evil 1 remake, and then I'm gonna play the Resident Evil 2 remake, and then hopefully by the time I finish that, Resident Evil 3 remake would be out, and then I can play through everything else. And because my goal was to get through Resident Evil 7. I never even got past 0. I don't like the mechanic where you're tethered to another character and all this kind of crap. I don't like the characters, period. The puzzles are stupid. I just don't like this one at all. Especially the fact that you're tethered to another person. It is terrible. I absolutely hate it. There's some cool stuff in it, but outside of that, no. Resident Evil 0 Remake, on the other hand, this was fantastic. So I remember the day that I bought this, it was the release day. I brought it home, and I was like, this is just going to be the original game with a new coat of paint just to make it look all pretty. No, it's almost a completely new game. I mean, the stuff that was in the original game is there, but it's been like reorganized a little bit and kind of reimagined. It's pretty amazing. Babysitting you. Yeah, hated it. And I remember, was it, Nefarious Wes, who's a YouTuber. I don't think he even does anything on YouTube anymore. Giving me so much shit. I was in one of Captain Algebra's streams in the chat, and Nefarious Wes was in there, and Captain Algebra asked me how I was enjoying 0, and I told him how much I hated it, and like Nefarious Wes for like a good 10 minutes was like bashing me in the comments of how much of an idiot I was because I didn't like it. I was just kind of like, dude, why do you care? But the Resident Evil Zero remake was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. The shark scene alone is worth playing this game. Like when you're in that overflowing or that flooded area where the shark is loose. It is crazy. Absolutely love it. Remake in the best way. And then there's Resident Evil 4, which everyone knows reinvented the series, completely changed it from that tank control game to like a third-person action game, more action-oriented than horror-oriented. I mean, the horror stuff is still there, but it's more about action and, you know, fighting multiple fast-moving characters at the same time kind of thing. I like it, but I kind of at the same time don't like it. I've never actually played through it all the way because of that. I got pretty far into it, but I kind of gave up after a little while. So I'll play it eventually, most likely when I finally buy the Resident Evil 4 remake that recently came out. That West guy is really nefarious. I just remember I was sitting there I was sitting there like right here, and I'm watching him like rag on me for like 10 minutes. I'm like, why do you even care if I don't like it? How does it affect you? I'm like, why are you getting so worked up? Check your blood pressure. I fired again. Next up, we have Rogue Ops. This was a multi-plat, and I said earlier that if I was gonna buy a multi-plat for this generation, I would usually get it for the Xbox. That still stands today. Usually, the Xbox version is gonna have the better graphics and everything, because that thing does HD like nobody's business. Those guys saw the future. But I found this dirt cheap, I think at half price books. So I was like, well, I don't really care about this title, so I'll pick it up for the GameCube because it's here. And it's a 3D action spy game. It's okay, I guess. I only played it for a little while to make sure it worked, and yeah, it's all right. Not worked up over it. And then we've got all this. Dem Sonics, though. So I have only played one of these. Isn't it funny how like I have this massive collection, but I've barely played any of the games in it? So what do we got first? We have Sonic Heroes, which is another 3D Sonic game, and I don't remember if this one got good reviews or not. It's been so goddamn long. But whenever I would see a Sonic game out in the wild, I would pick it up regardless of the fact that it was good or not, or if it had good reviews. Sonic's a cool character. I like Sonic. I would like to have all the Sonic games. It's not a priority, but it's something I would like to strive toward. But this one does have a lot of characters in it. Team Rose, Team Chaotix, Team Dark. I don't know what type of game this is. Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Rose, or Team Chaotix. Choose one of the 4 teams. Effortlessly switch between allies to fight evil. Oh, so like you pick a team and then you end up playing through the game as them and you can swap them out as you go. Sure. I said haven't played it. This one I have played, and that is the Sonic Mega Collection. This has all the Sonic Genesis games. So you got Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, a.k.a. Puyo Puyo. I did play this because I used to have the Player's Choice version of this, and then I randomly came across the not Player's Choice version at Half Price Books, so I bought that and got rid of my Player's Choice version. But I always enjoyed this one because when I got back into collecting, even back then, when this game originally came out, I had it because I didn't want to have to buy a Genesis again. And I wanted to still be able to play these games. At least decent versions of them. They are okay. They're not they're not perfect, but they're okay. And then we have Sonic Riders, which I do believe is basically you're grinding all day, all night on skateboards or hoverboards or something. Or is it just a racing game? I think it's a racing game when you're on like hoverboards. They made some weird shit. So this is like their Sega's take on like Mario Kart, I guess. Whatever. Haven't played it. Sonic Mega Collection on Xbox is the Mega Collection Plus. Yeah, there's more on it. Oh, I will have to look into that. Pick this one up at. I remember when I got this. I got this at the Exchange when I first discovered that it was there. The first time I ever went there was with my buddies Justin and Elizabeth. We walked in there just to see what was going on, and I was like overwhelmed. I was like, "Oh my god, so many games, so many games!" My brain melting out the ears. And I remember I was just kind of like, "I'll get some cheap stuff. I don't want to I could blow a ton of cash in here if I really wanted to, and I didn't really want to." So they had like the cheap games. Like I said, everything is behind glass. Well, that's all the standard stuff. But they also have like all these cheap discount games that they put above those racks that you have access to, and they're like $1 or $2. And I remember I found this on the dollar rack, and it is Space Raiders. And what it is 3/4 view Space Invaders. Basically, well, actually, like over the shoulder, so it's third-person Space Invaders. So you play as a little character at the front of the screen. His back is facing the camera, and you're like in an alley or something, and the aliens are coming down the alley at you, like in Space Invaders. Instead of coming from the sky, they're just coming from the other side of the alley, and you have to run back and forth and shoot at them all. It's really simple, but it's really fun. I mean, it's freaking Space Invaders. It's just in a different perspective and a different style. And it's really kind of rad. I saw what it was, and I was like, all right, that's kind of neat and different. I'll pick it up. And I really enjoyed when I played it, or what I have played of it. And then we've got one, I guess both of these, are kind of controversial for fans of the series, I guess. Shit. Yeah, I'll do this one. So we've got the Star Fox Adventures. Number 1, it's made by Rare. So you knew back when it was first released, I didn't care that it was no longer a shooter or like a into-the-screen shooter. I was just like, Rare did a Star Fox game? I want it. Give it to me now. So I ran out and bought it, and I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the greatest thing ever, but I didn't hate it because, as we all know, this was not supposed to be a Star Fox game. It was supposed to be called like Dinosaur Planet or something, that Rare was making this completely unrelated to any franchise game. And then, like, was it Shigeru Miyamoto saw the demos of it, was like, we should just turn this into a Star Fox game. And I don't know what made him say that, but he did. And that's what happened. So Rare ended up doing like a reskin on it and turned it into a Star Fox game and changed some of the dialogue and stuff like that. And voila, you've got a third-person or a 3D action beat-em-up Star Fox game with some environmental puzzles now. And a lot of people I knew were really pissed. Like, this was one of the reasons why I had friends that were like, if that Star Fox game ends up being pretty good, I'll buy a GameCube. And then they got word of what kind of a game it was, and they're like, forget it. So I enjoyed it because I do enjoy the Star Fox franchise. I think it's pretty fun. But mostly because it's Rare and they usually put together some quality stuff. And I think it is pretty cool. Although, to tell you the truth, I would have just preferred a standard Star Fox game. But this is not bad. Not bad at all. There is dinosaur stuff in it, too. Some of that was left in there. So, because of the response to that, we got Star Fox Assault, which is more of that. But there is some extra stuff. Like now you've got the tank that was taken out of what was Star Fox 2 that we never got and thrown into this game, and now it has 4-player multiplayer. It's good. It could have been a hell of a lot better, but to me, this one feels a little rushed. Like, they're like, oh shit, we got to win the fans back. Put out another Star Fox game quick. That's like the way it should be. It's all right. Like I said, could have been a lot better. The tank is fun, though. Yeah, the tank in Star Fox 2 is fun, too. Yeah, it was not Star Fox. I think. Oh, the more is the Game Gear games on there. Oh, okay. I actually have Sonic 2 on the Game Gear. I think it's as strange as Sonic Shuffle on the Dreamcast. Yeah, tell me about it. Good game. It's a lot of crap because it's not Star Fox. Tank is fun. Yeah. All right, so final stack. Now we've been talking for half an hour already. Now we've got these Star Wars games. There were a fair amount of Star Wars games, and they were all in one specific franchise within the franchise of Star Wars. So we've got Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2. The game that made me want to break into my parents' bedroom and unwrap my GameCube, my Christmas present GameCube, break the seal on this and think my parents were never going to notice, just so I could play this for like 3 or 4 hours. They noticed. But it's definitely a step up from what's on the Nintendo 64. It's a fantastic like starship shooter. You can do it in the cockpit, but mostly it's from behind the cockpit. That's the best way, at least for me. And you get to play through a whole bunch of awesome different scenarios. You get the Hoth stuff, you get the Death Star run, you get a lot of different stuff. And it is hard as balls. Like my buddy Justin that I keep talking about didn't beat this game until like 4 years ago. Like he finally was able to complete it. He's been trying since this came out. But it's a fantastic game, and I was really glad that this was a launch game for the console, which led us to Star Wars Rebel Strike, Rogue Squadron 3. This one is not that great. I think it was still Factor 5. Yeah, Factor 5 made them both. But for some reason, Factor 5 was like, you know what? Playing all that Starship battle stuff, it's getting kind of boring. Let's put some on-foot levels in there. No, they are terrible. They suck. And that's probably why the franchise ended right here, because they kind of ruined it a little bit, I guess. But when it comes to the aerial combat stuff, it is fine. But that on-foot garbage, hail to the no. Hail to the no. Special features. Okay, what is this bullshit it says down here? 2-player competitive version of Rogue Leader game included on this disc. Oh, okay. So we got a extra thing down here. I saw the little poster of, or the little picture of Rogue Leader. There's actually some extra stuff that has to do with that game in it. Rad as hell. I mean, it's okay. Could have been a hell of a lot better. Should have just left the game as it was. Don't add in anything unnecessary. Sonic Drift 2 is fun in the game. I've never played that one. Your dad left Xmas presents locked in the trunk of his car. Oh my god, I'd be afraid someone would steal my freaking car and break into my car. But that's not it. I had this back in the day. I still got a sticker in there I should probably remove. Do that on stream? Yeah, sure, why not? It's not tearing. Bam! I had this back in the day because if you pre-ordered Rebel Strike, you got this. And I've been looking for it ever since. I got back into collecting because I did end up selling this for quite a decent amount of money, if I remember correctly, on Amazon. And I wanted it for one specific reason. It's a demo disc of Rogue Squadron 3. Limited edition preview disc. Like I said, you only got this if you pre-ordered the game. It has a couple of levels of Rebel Strike in it. But the reason I wanted this back in the day was because it came with the Star Wars arcade game. The original wireframe, vector graphics one. And that was why I wanted to pre-order the game, just so I could get that. And I've been looking for this ever since I got back into collecting. And of all the places to find it was the Makes Sense Variety Store in Milwaukee. I think it was the first year that the convention went to the convention center. So that was 2018. And that was the year that I went by myself. And I saw that they had it in the case with like all the games they didn't want people touching with their hands. And I was like, oh, can I see how much that is? And the guy pulls it out, and that's how much I paid. $5 slim. I'm like, I've been seeing this stuff for super expensive prices everywhere else. And then I see it here for $5. Whatever. I'm just glad that I get to play the arcade game. That's the only reason to have that. Don't fix things that are not broke, Factor 5. See, we're on the same page, bro. Just picked up 4 pre-order items from the early 2000s. Nice. Demo discs are strange on pricing. I don't know. Like eBay, it was at the time I bought that at that store for $5. I remember looking for it maybe a month or two before just to see if the pricing had come down, and it was still like $30, $40. And I'm like, I'm not paying that much for a demo. And then I see that. It's just one of those things where they've probably had that in the case for a while. There was nobody showing any interest in it. They didn't think of updating the price at all. It's probably just been sitting there forever, and then I just happened to catch them slipping. Lunar demo on PS1. The Lunar demo? Yeah. So I have the other 2 games in this franchise, I think on the PS2. It could be the Xbox. I don't know. But we have a Summoner game, A Goddess Reborn, on the GameCube, and I do believe this is a remake of the first one, if I remember correctly. It's got a thick-ass manual, too. God damn. But this is an action RPG? Or is this just a beat-em-up? I cannot remember. Explore over 30 exotic and imaginative 3D locales. Craft, I don't know if it's an RPG or an action RPG or what, but I always thought this franchise was pretty cool. I think the first one was a launch game for the PS2, but eventually, they translated it or ported it over to the GameCube, so that's cool. This one I have played a lot. Super Mario Strikers. I've mentioned before that I really like the Mario games that have to do with sports. I'd rather play one of these than I'd rather play this than a FIFA game. But yeah, it's Mario Soccer. And of course, it's very cartoony and very arcadey, and it's filled with lots of Mario in-jokes and whatnot, and Mario characters and Nintendo characters. And it's actually pretty fun. I love them. Golf games are hit or miss with me. Like, sometimes I think they're fun, sometimes I think they're kind of boring. But like Mario Golf is like a really fun game, especially when you're playing it with friends. The Mario Baseball game that's on the Wii is actually pretty fun. I did not think Mario Soccer was going to be, worth a damn, but I was like, all right, fine, I'll pick it up and check it out. And holy crap, it was a lot of fun. And I cannot imagine playing this with friends. That would be so much fun. Like I said, I got to have another retro gaming party or something. Okay, so I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this. I do not like this game at all, and it's a real popular game. Same way I'm not a fan of the Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda game. I do not like Super Mario Sunshine, like, at all. I do not like it. I was not a fan of Mario 64, and some of that kind of moved over to their, what do you call it? Like, I transferred some of my dislike of that over to this. Plus, I do not like the mechanic of using the backpack to, like, fly around, because I find it incredibly imprecise. And, like, I would always be falling to my death, or I think I'd be landing on something properly, and nope, falling to my death all the time. And it sucked. I do not like this one at all. You go to, what is it? I can't remember the name of the island, Isle Delfino, and there's, like, paint all over the place, and you've got to clean it up. The ink spots all over. Somebody loves D-Blob. Or people who made D-Blob like this game. I don't know. But, yeah, there's, like, paint all over the place and all the normal puzzle and environmental platforming kind of crap. For some reason, this game just does not work for me. So, I did not play this for very long. I remember I bought it day one. I pre-ordered it from the local Funko Land. There was still a Funko Land around when this came out, at least in my area. And I went there and picked it up with my buddy Justin. Brought it home, and I would say I played it for maybe 3 days, and then I was like, you know what, I'm done. I don't think I need to play this anymore. And I gave up on it. But that's just me. That one of the reasons why I was not interested in buying that Mario 3D Switch thing that has that and Mario 64 on it was because of those two games. I don't like those two games. Yeah, 3D All-Stars, yep. Can't get into it. I do not like it. But a lot of people do, and I'm happy for you. I'm glad you were able to get some kind of an enjoyment out of it. I can't. These games I never played back in the day, but I remember hearing nothing but praise, and I thought it just sounded stupid, but I'd never actually played it, so I didn't have the frame of reference. I don't know. I should have played them. I should have rented them at least. I never did until I got back into collecting, and then I was like, you know what, Chris? You can be stupid sometimes. And that's the Super Monkey Balls. I remember everybody telling me not only was this a fun multiplayer game, but it was just a really fun game in general. Like, so you're playing as a stupid little monkey in a big plastic ball, and you have to tilt the level that you're on to get him to move. And the whole point is to get to the finish line. But it's like the craziest tracks you've ever seen, and you got to like jump across big chasms and stuff like that. It's nuts, like physics-based stuff. And there's all these other kind of modes, like you got monkey billiards, monkey bowling, monkey golf, monkey fight, monkey race, monkey target, and stuff. And I heard it was a great party game on top of just being a great single-player game. I just wish I knew about it, or I had at least played it back in the day, because I was missing out. And then we also got the Super Monkey Ball 2. That was so popular, it got a sequel. And I, once again, never played it. But it's the same thing. Tilt the level around to make your little monkey ball move. Get to the finish line, but this has a bunch of different modes too. Now you got tennis, soccer, dogfight, race, baseball, golf, bowling, target, boat race, shot, fight, billiards, and story mode. Yep, I was a dum-dum. I should have at least played it, but the name made me go, no, that sounds stupid. Never judge a book by its cover. I learned the hard way because I should have been playing those all these years. And then we've got Super Smash Brothers Melee. This is before Ultimate came about. This was my favorite Super Smash Brothers game. I know a lot of people love the one on the Wii. Which one is that? Brawl. Melee was the one for me. Like I rented. I never actually owned the original Super Smash Brothers on the N64. I rented it one time, and I was like, "This is kind of a cool idea." I wish there was more characters. That was my big complaint. But we got that later. But Melee was the one where I was like, "Okay, now this is fun," and I got a huge kick out of playing like the. Is this the one with the story mode? Right? Yeah. Yep. I got a huge kick out of playing this game single player, even against the computer, just doing like a regular fight. So this one was my favorite until Ultimate came out. Now Ultimate is the one that just takes the cake. But it's a great series. Got that at that. That's the thing about, remember that disc replay place I keep talking about, where like their prices were like insanely low compared to everybody else. I went there pretty early on in collecting. This was like one of those games that I knew was going to be pretty expensive because it's a popular franchise. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to buy this for less than $100. And then I went there one day and they're selling this for $45. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know if I was just lucky timing. People behind the counter didn't know what they were doing or what, but Money Target was so much fun when drinking. If you won a round, you took a shot. Oh my God, I'd be dead. Here is Tales of Symphonia. I'm not sure where this fits into the franchise, but at least I have another Tales game to not play. But RPG, these games are like on all the consoles, all the freaking consoles. Never played it because I want to play the other games in the series first. So I got to get Tales of Fantasia first, and then Tales of Destiny 1 and 2, and all that. But yeah, RPG with some anime-ish stuff going on in there too, which looks actually pretty cool. But yeah, haven't played it. I have games from this franchise across like the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox and the GameCube. Yeah, this is the one that I have for the GameCube. I have the other ones elsewhere. But TMNT Mutant Melee, there was like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, 2, and 3. And then this is like the unofficial fourth one, I guess. But this one is more about multiplayer than anything else, because this is like, if I remember correctly, this was a little bit like Smash Brothers. Over 20 playable characters, unpredictable obstacles around every corner, melee and adventure mode, wide range of mini games. Or is this like playing... Please don't tell me that this is like playing Mario Party. One of the Turtles is they trash, smash, and bash their way to victory in the ultimate 4-player Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle actions game. I don't know. I don't know. That's the best version since it's 60 frames per second. The Tails game? Oh, really? Really? That is good to know. Yeah, I'll have to keep that in mind. But I haven't played this. Couldn't tell you if it's good or not. This one, oh man, I did a video on my channel like years ago. It was one of my big collaboration videos where I had John Riggs. Who was it? It was John Riggs, Wood from Beat 'em Ups, and Felix the Brett from Batterad, who was like my little game guy that I buy stuff from on Facebook all the time. And we did a video, or I started a collab. I invited them all to participate. They all did, where we're talking about like, I called them WTF games, like games that had no business being this bad. Like you play them and you're like, what the hell? You're like, what the hell? You're like, what? WTF? You're like, what? And this was one of the games that, what was his name? Wood chose. And I bought it anyway. I found it at Half Price Books. I just took the Half Price Book sticker off of it on the inside. I opened it up and I saw it inside. Hang on. Yeah, the little half price book sticker. I remember I found this at Half Price Books like dirt cheap, and I was like, if it sucks, it sucks, whatever. But it's technically a licensed game, and it is what is even the name? That's not even on the front. Universal Studios Theme Park Adventure. It's a licensed game. There's a bunch of different licenses in it. So basically, you're playing as this kid who goes to the Universal Studios park, and ends up going into all the different attractions. So there's a Jurassic Park ride, there's the Back to the Future ride, there's the E.T. ride, there's the Jaws ride, and there's a Woody Woodpecker thing apparently too. And those are like mini games. But the main thing is you end up like getting hired by the park or something like that, and all you do is pick up trash in the park. Like you're walking around the streets and you pick up trash and you throw it away. So your job is to clean up the park. Who thought this was a good idea? I mean, that's why Wood complained about it so much. He's like, I did not buy this game full price to pick up trash. That's not a fun video game mechanic. And the mini games, he said, aren't the greatest either. So you got ones for all these different movies, and none of them are actually all that great. I remember the Jaws one was the one that excited me the most, and that ended up being garbage. But, yeah. Guess who? Yeah, no thanks. But luckily, I didn't remember not paying a whole lot of money for it. It was like $5 or $6. And then we've got these. It took me a while to find these. I still have one more game in this franchise to find. I think it's called Melee. But we've got the Beautiful Joe games. And I had the first one back in the day, and I really liked it because the whole cel-shaded thing was kind of new at the time. You're a garbage man. Enjoy it whenever. Probably when I'm 80, I'll get around to playing Tales of Symphonia. But yeah, you're a garbage man in that game. Not ideal. Where's the gameplay? I don't know. But yeah, it's the whole cel-shaded thing was huge back in this era, and this is one of the games that really brought it home. I really enjoyed the look of it. The art style was pretty cool. The animation was great, but it's a really interesting beat 'em up where you're playing as like a character in a movie. And you're like doing this, like I guess you're the stuntman, and you're doing all the typical beat 'em up types of things. And it's actually pretty cool the way it's designed. I really enjoyed it. I never actually played through it all the way, but I got pretty far and I really liked it. And it was so popular that it got a sequel and another one after that. We got Beautiful Joe 2. This one took me a while to find. I don't remember exactly where I found it. Hopefully there's a sticker in here that tells me. I want to say I picked this up at Game Dude, but there's no Game Dude sticker in here. But I remember I was looking for this forever, and then I randomly found it somewhere, and I was like, okay, finally. But it's more of the same, just another beat 'em up, and you're in another movie. I just ripped ass again. Damn. But these are super fun. I need to play through them all. And then there's another one after that. I think that's called, it's Beautiful Joe Rumble. And I need to find that one. Only 3 games to go, y'all. This one surprised the hell out of me. I need to get another case for it because somehow it got slashed open. I don't know if that was from me doing something stupid or if I picked it up like that and never noticed it. Anyway, so when I first got back into collecting, I hit up that disc replay place by my work, and I found this for a whopping $8. And I was like, this is like a mainline Nintendo game. Why is it so cheap? It's Wario World. I figured this would have been really expensive, and now I think it is kind of. But for some reason, I got it super cheap back in the day, or when I first got back into collecting. This was made by Treasure. Treasure made a mainline Nintendo game. What? I had no clue, and it's not even advertised on the box, which is a goddamn shame. But it's a 3D platformer where you're playing as Wario, and the whole idea is just to collect as much money as you possibly can, because Wario is a hoarder. Apparently, there is a 4-player mode. Transfer a sampling of WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro game to your Game Boy Advance. Oh, so there's something you can install on your Game Boy Advance through this? What? That's interesting. Did not know that. Didn't pay attention. But whatever. This game surprised the hell out of me because when I first brought it home, I played through it, and I was playing it for a couple of hours, and I was like, this is actually not bad. Why don't more people talk about this online? I don't know. Probably because it doesn't have Mario in the title. But it's actually pretty fun. And then we got this one. Peter! My collection is crazy. Thanks, man, Boy Cave. Next up, we've got Wave Race Blue Storm, the sequel to Wave Race 64, which is actually a sequel to Wave Race on the Game Boy. So this is part 3. And it's more of what was on the Nintendo 64, just with better graphics and whatnot, and just more jet ski racing. And I played this quite a bit when I first brought home, or when that HD upgrade thing that I bought that I showed off last stream. God, what is it called? The thing that lets me play through HDMI. This was one of the games I popped in, and it looks absolutely beautiful in HD on a high def television. Oh my god, it translated so well, and it's actually super fun. Like I prefer this to like Jet Moto. Remember, Jet Moto was kind of a big deal. I need to find those damn games for the PlayStation 1. Jet Moto was the shit. Heck yeah, Wave Race. I know you'd appreciate it. Is there a jet ski racing movie we could watch for the podcast, bro? And the last game I have to talk about today is... Why did I buy this? I know why. Multiplayer. Play it with friends. I think it might have the mode that I like. We got WWE WrestleMania. I guess it's supposed to be 18. I've never really been into wrestling at all, but a lot of my friends are, and I hear that I've always heard that the Nintendo 64 wrestling games were the shit. Never owned any of them back in the day. I own some now, and I do find them to be pretty entertaining, even though they're kind of basic compared to what happens or what we got right now. But even the Nintendo 64 games had that like viewing mode where you just pick a bunch of characters and throw them into a match, and you get the computer will play all the characters and determine who's a winner and all that. You can watch this whole WrestleMania or Royal Rumble thing play out without touching the controller once, which is pretty rad. I'm pretty sure this one does that too, but it's just better graphics and an updated roster to whatever was going on around WrestleMania 18, which obviously was Savage Steve, or was it Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rob Van Dam, and Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I knew that much. And it's an officially licensed product because it's got that holograph sticker there. I made sure that they had that when I bought this. But yeah, I haven't actually spent a whole lot of time with this. I tried it out when I first brought it home, and yeah, it's okay. But compared to what we have right now, or even like playing Fire Pro Wrestling, it's kind of basic. The Waterworld is the closest to a jet ski movie. All right, and that's the end of my GameCube collection. Like I said, it's a pretty small collection. I just didn't want to talk about like 80 games in one sitting because I would have gone completely hoarse, like I did in the old streams that I was doing like 3 years ago. Man, I would just talk about games for 3-4 hours in a row and then not be able to speak the next day. So I decided to tone it back for the new ones. Got to conserve the voice. I'm a supervisor now. I need to be able to talk and boss people around at work. So thanks everyone for coming. We do need we need 2 multiplayer Arcanine. Well, you know what? I don't have anything going on after this. If you want to try it out, I have to install it. But I'm down if you want to play it now. So I'll be back tomorrow with a new short. I'll be releasing that probably around 1 or 2 p.m. Central Time. And I'll be back next week with another video game collection live stream. It'll either be... I'm assuming it's going to be the Xbox. I'm thinking it's going to be the original Xbox. That's going to be another long, multi-part, probably like a 4-part stream series, again, because I have so many damn games for that console, it's going to be nuts. But I love the Xbox, so that's going to be a real fun one to do, and I've played a lot of those games in my collection. Bing! So come back for that, thankfully. And then I'm thinking in 2 weeks, I'm going to release the newest episode of my Dungeons & Dragons campaign, Tides of Flame, Episode 5. I'm going to release the Twitch stream on YouTube so everyone can see it. Watching it around 1 or 2 p.m. then. Well, thank you, Peter. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I'm sorry I was a little bit late, but traffic was a pain in the butt. And I will see you all hopefully next week. So have a good evening, everyone. Stay safe out there. Chris, the old-ass retro gamer, out. I know it's the wrong wrestler, but ooh, yeah!